the news about Kyrie Irving's injury came down yesterday afternoon, maybe a little bit early in the afternoon, right? And it didn't look great. It looked like a serious injury. You were thinking maybe at worst like a bone bruise. But when I saw him at the free throw line with tears in his eyes, like I'm like, oh, he knows. Whatever it is, he knows exactly what it is. Dan, the news came out yesterday, and everybody's first reaction was not to look at Kyrie Irving as the human being and the athlete, the spellbinding guy, the all-star, the guy that, man, he's kind of redeemed himself from where he was 2 years ago in Brooklyn when people thought he was Kanye West East. You know what I mean? Like when everybody thought that he had lost his damn mind with all the things that had happened. Nobody thought about that. The first thing, including here in some spaces, was Nico Harrison, Luka Doncic. What a disaster. What a disaster this is for Kyrie Irving, y'all. Like we're missing something here in coverage when the first thing we talk about, not the second thing, not the second day, the first damn thing we talk about is somebody else. And we're not talking about, man, Kyrie Irving is one of these quote unquote OGs. Kyrie Irving has a remarkable body of work, and Kyrie Irving has been balling ever since he got to Dallas, and we're going to miss that.
That's what I'm going to miss. I mean, we were witnessing a guy that's already done 50, 40, 90, was probably on the cusp of doing it again for the amount of minutes and usage that he was getting with Luka off the floor. And it just sucks for basketball because Kyrie just gives that whole other, he's like a magician, is a wizard with the ball. Like, if I could have my kid watch any basketball player in this era, it's probably Kyrie for what he can do from shooting to taking the ball to the rack, the handles, like he has it all. And then also like him as a person, just watching his maturity since he's gotten to Dallas, he's been a completely different person. Like he's so honest with the media, transparent about everything that's going on. And like I watched his IG story where he was just thanking everybody for all the prayers and wishes in his recovery. And it just sucks for everybody involved, man, because Kyrie was in the midst of he's an all-star nod. You know, he got obviously deserving of it. But I mean, the Mavs were 28 and 22 with him on the floor. It's just a disappointing ending to what was going to be a really good resurgence in Kyrie's career arc, because there was a lot of people, as you said, that were really hating on the man, Kyrie Irving, and still respecting his ball game. But I think it's all come together over the last several years with him in Dallas. So yeah, just prayers up for Kyrie, man, and wish him a speedy recovery. And hopefully we can see some version of what he was before this injury, because a torn ACL at this age is definitely not a good thing. But if one thing we know, watching him shoot those free throws, despite having a torn ACL, he'll be back.
It's weird. Like we tend to look at torn ACLs and Achilles like, oh, a guy can come back from that. Like I remember back in the day, you tore your Achilles, that's a career ender. You were done. Like that's a different injury than the ACL, than tearing your knee. But luckily for Kyrie, he's not, how do I put this? If Kyrie were not black, we would not think of Kyrie as supreme athlete. You know what I mean? Because Kyrie is quick, but he's more deceptively quick. It's the handle. It's the tricky. It's the threat of the shot. It's all the craftiness that goes into being a really good basketball player as opposed to a really great athlete playing basketball, right? And when you look at the efficiency, and I'm not a slave to efficiency. I think efficiency has been the enemy of stylistic good in the NBA. But sometimes it helps. Like Kyrie shooting 50 from 2, 40 from 3, 90 from the line. The other two dudes playing regular minutes with that level of efficiency, Amir Coffey with the Clippers and Sam Hauser from the Celtics, the walking Tommy point. They got two walking Tommy points over there.
And Sam Hauser's taking less than a field goal, a 2-point field goal a game. Like he's only shooting threes. Right.
Like neither one of those are playing with the volume of it. And Kyrie's doing this while averaging 25, 5, and 5. So then the disingenuous part of the discussion is, oh, you were running Kyrie into the ground because you didn't have Luka. You didn't have Luka from December 25th until the day he was traded, which meant Kyrie was having to take on an extra load while Luka Doncic was still on the roster. So this isn't a function. If you're going to say that this is a usage injury, which I don't think it is, that dude took a bad step, right? You can tell when someone, you can tell when someone's knee gives. Derrick Rose in 2012, usage injury. Scheduling injury, 66 games in 167 days when the league was trying to get that money after that lockout. And they had players playing back-to-back-to-backs. And I think Derrick Rose played something like 39 out of 66 games, and Tibbs had his ass out there in the last minute of a playoff game when they were up 12. That is a usage accumulation injury. This is a freak injury. And I know Kyrie has had injuries before. Remember, he tore his kneecap in the NBA Finals. Mm-hmm. He's had shoulder injuries. Like, he's had things that have happened to him, but he's never had something devastating like this. That's a function of being 33 years old. He's going to be 33 at the end of this month, March 29th, I believe is his birthday. We're not used to guys playing this long. And secondarily, Dan, this is the part that I think we miss when talking about, let's make this about Nico. Let's make this the people, it's like Law and Order. These are their stories. Boom, boom, like that type of thing, right? The thing that I think we miss is Kyrie Irving with Steph Curry, who we're going to talk about later, with Dame Lillard, who we might touch on a little bit later. Like, that class of guard, that era of small guard that is now mid-30s, late 30s, like, this is... You're going to have to take it from them. Like, like whoever the next guys are, the Cade Cunninghams, if you thought Trae Young was one of those guys, I didn't necessarily believe that. But whomever the next guards are, the Shai Gilgeous-Alexanders, like these guys, the Ja Morants, when he had it going, you were going to have to take it from these guys. And I wanted to see if the young guys could snatch it from the old guys at the biggest level. And now we are missing someone who's authored one of the biggest shots in NBA history, who maybe was going to get Dallas into the play-in, depending on how things happen with Anthony Davis, and you see them in a one-game scenario or play-in scenario, whatever it is, they'd have been dangerous. Now we're going to miss one of the greatest entertainers and one of the best competitors in a small sample size. That's jacked up to me. I'm not worried about Nico. I'm not worried about Nico Harrison right now. I'm not worried about Luka Doncic right now. We could talk about that tomorrow.
I will say, though, just to go back to the minutes thing, he did play the most minutes from February 4th to March 2nd. And given that you were just running down that list of successful stories of players at that age playing that amount of minutes, it was definitely playing with fire. And yes, it was a freak injury.
Yeah, he's playing like 39 minutes a game, I think, in
39 minutes a game. Like, that's absurd for, like, that's Tibbs. That's the Tibbs treatment, right? And that's what happened. It's very Tibbsy. So I'm not saying that this injury wouldn't have occurred, but I think it's more towards this was a freak accident. He was playing having an extreme workload to have to carry a Dallas team that was a function of Nico's decisions. That being said, I don't think you can blame Nico for Kyrie's injury. It's more of the situation that just sucks in totality. If you're a Mavs fan, to lose Luka and then lose Kyrie, and now you're probably going to lose Anthony Davis for the rest of the season too. Like, the season's done. And then I was just left with the question. I'm like, wow, I thought Philly had the worst situation in the league, and it's now
they still do. They still do.
But Dallas isn't looking great either, because now with that player option for Kyrie, like, I don't know, maybe he's like, I mean, I think he's going to take his money, but especially if he's going to be rehabbing. But long term, I don't know. I'll be curious to see what he actually feels like and how that organization is treating him and how he feels going forward. But
they threw him a life raft. Like, Nico Harrison threw him a life raft at a time that not many people were thinking about it. And at a time where, once again, we say Nico Harrison's an idiot, but he put together a team that went to the NBA Finals last year. And the biggest personnel move that he made, short of the trade deadline last year, when he got PJ, and then he got and Daniel Gafford, all that, was acquiring Kyrie Irving at the, won't say for the low, but it was at a point where nobody wanted him. So on one hand, man, Nico's an idiot. On the other hand, wait, how did he get Kyrie in the first place? Because the relationship that the two had and everything else. Now you bring up the point, and before we get to that point, Kyrie has a player option next year $43 million. Of course, he's going to pick it up. Kyrie was in line to super max me out, cash me outside. That's right. What he was in line for. And because the injury, the other unfortunate part about this, Dan, because the injury happened so late in the regular season,
he's not going to hit the games limit.
Not only that, but the part that's tough is that when you get injured this late in the season as opposed to early, it puts a really big shadow over next season, you being able to play and what that looks like, whether that's a 9-month injury or a 12-month injury. Like, let's say it's 9 months. That means maybe you'll be back in January. It's a big fat maybe.
Mm-hmm.
But if this a year from now and Dallas is in a spot where, man, maybe we're back. Maybe Anthony Davis is healthy. Maybe some of these other players, and it kind of works out defensively, and all we need is Kyrie to come back. You're going to ask a Kyrie coming off of an ACL to come back and save you in the last month of the season. Best case scenario. So like you said, I'd still rather be Dallas than the Philadelphia 76ers. All that being said, I'd still rather be them.
Yeah, I just hope that they don't rush him back for this. Because
no, they won't. They can't.
They need for Kyrie to operate how Kyrie operates. Like, he has to be shifty and comfortable to be able to balance on that knee. So, yeah, I hope that they give him all the time he needs, because I feel like this is going to be a lost season for Dallas next year too. Because AD, it's not like he could stay healthy either.
Yeah, I mean, look, I'll be surprised if AD played again this season. I don't think it doesn't make a whole lot of sense.
No,
for him to come back and play with the way that everything is sort of played out. Rest, rehab, get yourself right for next year. Because regardless of what happens with Kyrie, AD is going to be under a lot of pressure and stress just for that organization because, hey, we traded Luka Doncic for you. Like, you're going to have to show and improve regardless of whatever the reasoning is or was. The fact of the matter is, we traded 10 years of that for 3 of you. That 3 better be great.